A mid-year movie madness at the end of the year? What is this? Some sort of Christmas special? Some sort of ruddy, bloody Christmas special? The Santa hats are still in the garage. This is the best I could do. I had to do the elf. Sorry, Merlin. I know you hate the slideshow, but we've got to do the slideshow because it takes away time for editing, and I'm trying to get this out before the end before Christmas, but preferably before the end of the year. I'm using the one from last year, by the way. This is oh shit. Hang on, went too far. Okay. There we go. Mid-year welcome. All right, let's do it.
Aka got a weird case. Why is he around? Certified lover boy, certified
I might hear the fan sound as well because it's really hot. Sorry. Anyway.
Knowing they call you the boy, but where's the man? Cause I ain't seen him yet. Matter of fact, I ain't even bleed him yet. Can I bleed him back? When I see you stand by sexy red, I believe you see too bad.
Am I doing mid, peak, or ass? I don't know, whatever. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. This is the one I tease as my favorite movie of the year. I don't know if I'd still call it that. It's really good. I've heard a big criticism that the first hour is really bad. In my opinion, it's not the first hour, but the half hour after the first hour. There's a really bad scene with Shea Wiggum. I heard it was Shea Wiggum's idea. He wanted to have a scene with Tom Cruise in the movie, and that's why I kind of feel bad about calling it bad, but it has such a dumb reveal that, like, yeah, they really didn't have a lot to do with his character, unfortunately, even though it was a good performance. That's the problem with this movie. There's way too many characters because they just wanted to shove as many actors they wanted into it as possible. So then you've got this scene with Hannah Waddingham that's just there because they liked Hannah Waddingham, and also they wanted to cross-cut. Kristen McQuarrie has an obsession with cross-cutting and with temporal displacement. I guess, I don't know if that's a proper term for editing, but flashbacks and all of this stuff and just cross-cutting and cutting to stuff. They filmed new scenes for Mission Impossible 3 just so they could have footage to cut to. What I love and hate about these movies, these Chris McQuarrie movies specifically, is that they are edited for idiots, which I'm an idiot, so I appreciate it, but they did go a bit far. You can tell that they're kind of reeling from the fact that the last one didn't do great at the box office, and I watched this Josh Horowitz Happy Sad Confused interview where he said, we didn't just blame it on Barbenheimer. We looked back and we were like, where did we mess? And it's like, you should have just blamed it on Barbenheimer. That last one was great. Do I have the... What do I give it? From last year. There we go. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Isn't that good? And yeah, this one definitely is paced worse. And shit, I went too far. You're getting spoiled all the way through. Anyway, this one's definitely paced worse. That movie has like 3 exciting big action moments in the first half hour and 3 big set pieces. This one takes a while to get to the set piece. There's action throughout the whole thing. There's like gunplay and chasing and running and fighting and all that. There's a lot of great action in this, and especially the third act, which I love. It's kind of a replay of Fallout, but it's done in a really great way. I love the wing walking. I love the shot when he's grabbing onto the other plane. When he's grabbing onto one plane and the plane underneath him like falls apart. That's so cool. I love how Gabriel... I was just cackling the first time I saw that. I saw it again with my brother and he just like leaned over me like... But my favorite scene is the submarine sequence. It feels like the whole movie builds up to that centerpiece, and there's no dialogue. There's one piece of dialogue that's kind of awkwardly ADR'd in, and I can tell. Still, it's such a stunning, tense sequence, and what I love about Tom Cruise's performance in this is that it feels like he has the weight of every previous adventure and of all of his mistakes and of saving the world so many times. That weight is pushing on every word. There's definitely way too much exposition, and it has the Wes Anderson problem of having too many characters to accommodate the amount of actors they want to put in. Oh, there's a really unearned emotional moment at the end with Erica Sloane and her son. I was like, what the... was I supposed to care about these guys? But I love Cruise. I love the visuals of the movie. It carries on how playful the camera is in Dead Reckoning, but it's darker. There's more of a gunmetal gray aesthetic. I love when they do the noir lighting, where it's just a band of light across the eyes and then the whole rest of the face is in dark. I really like the performances. I love all the little I love all the writing, all the lines. I love the scene when he's kicking that guy and pushes his face into a treadmill. That was awesome. Clearly a bit rushed and a bit messy, but I don't think it was boring. I remember watching the first hour, I was like, people find this part boring, they can't wait to see the rest, and the rest was really good, and I love so much of it. Clearly not the best of the series. I'd say it goes for me maybe Fallout, then Dead Reckoning, and the first one are like tied, and then this one's tied with like 5 others or 4 or however many, and then Mission Impossible 2 is at the bottom, which even I like that movie sometimes, but it's clearly the worst one. 3 is good. It has a lot of distinct set pieces, which is a lot better than 2 when it's 2 leads with no chemistry. I like Tom and Tandiwe Newton, but I didn't scratch that itch, you know? I was trying to be romantic romantic. It didn't get the romance for me. I didn't like that. But we're not talking about 2, we're talking about 8, and I think most franchises would kill to go out on a note this good. As much as it'd be cool to see another one, I am kind of glad that this is the final reckoning. You see those promotional ads where they cast Tom Cruise. So this is the last one. Then he goes, well, it's called the final reckoning. But I didn't know that they were really doing the final one. I thought there was going to be 2 more. But I guess they're done and they're going to work on other movies, which I'm excited to see. I am kind of glad that he did close the book on this, just so that we could see Tom Cruise do more stuff. I'm excited to see Broadsword if that's happening. I'm excited to see the Alejandro Iñárritu movie. I don't even love Iñárritu, but I think it's going to be exciting to see them work together. A lot of people hate Iñárritu for some reason, just because he's kind of unsubtle. He's about as subtle as Fellini. I think his problem was subtlety. Was that a review? I think that was a review. It's not my favorite of the year, but really good. This movie, really good as well. What I appreciate about this film is, as much as I love Mission Impossible, again, it is kind of edited, and Macquarie's editing, with the editor of the movie is Eddie Hamilton, but how those movies are constructed where you could zone out, they explain a lot. There's a scene where, just go back here, there's a moment where Gabriel says a line to Luther, and then he leaves, and then Ethan comes back and asks Luther what happened, and then Luther explains what Gabriel said, and it cuts back to the clip that happened a minute ago. It was a little funny. With a movie like this, there were a lot of times in the movie when I saw a piece of information being shown and I was like, oh Christ, they're going to explain the hell out of this, aren't they? And they just didn't. There's this big reveal where there's a missing poster and there's like a kid that you've seen before, and I was like, oh my God, that's a big reveal. And then I thought, okay, so he's going to go into the office and he's going to explain it. And it's like, no, they just let it be. They just let you visually understand that, which was great. And also the brother and the sister, they have a thing where if they say something and then it goes, all right, no bullshit, actually tell me the truth. They say grapefruit, like, yeah, it looks great. Grapefruit. Okay, it actually looks terrible. There was multiple times in the movie when I thought, okay, so one of them's going to say grapefruit, and then an adult's going to ask, what does that grapefruit thing mean? So it's like, well, it means we have to tell the truth to each other. And they just didn't. It's like, no, you get it. You get it. You don't need us to spell it out. And I love that. Even the whole ritual thing, they don't explain the mechanics of it entirely, but they just give you, they gave me enough at least to understand the general broad strokes of what this was emotionally. And that I really appreciated. Camera-wise, it's like a little less exciting and rapid and frantic than Talk to Me was, which is in this slideshow, but I'd have to go all the way to the back, so I'm not gonna do that. I like Talk to Me hair more. There's like maybe a few more visually interesting, distinct ideas in that movie. It just makes me prefer it a little more, but on the flip side, I also really admire that they stuck purely to this set of characters and delving into the emotions of this core relationship and these people, as opposed to making something that was more adrenaline fueled. They're fucking great filmmakers. I'm very glad we're getting great Australian movies, let alone ones made by YouTubers. Here's hoping I can follow. Or maybe the Wes Anderson cabal will have me killed, or whatever. I reject the premise that every Wes Anderson movie is the same, because that also implies that every Wes Anderson movie is of the same quality. I liked Asteroid City. I thought it was pretty good, but that movie is also kind of predicated upon, as I see it, this meta commentary of how and why Wes Anderson presents his stories with a lot of staging and trimming and framing devices. That's how he interacts with storytelling. That's very interesting. And I thought the fact that he fully explained that meant he could delve into some more personal movies, but this feels like maybe his least personal movie he's ever made. Everything kind of feels like a joke. I've been thinking a lot about Bjorn and Liesel, I believe their names are, compared to Zero and Agatha from the Grand Budapest Hotel. Those scenes are very jokey and quippy, but there's still a lot of time to slow down and actually indulge in that relationship and see it transform and see it have an arc and be really nice. But the relationship between those two, which they end up together, is she hates him for the first hour, and then he reveals he's actually got like a secret persona, and then over the next minute she falls in love with him and kisses him, and it's like a joke about how she falls in love with him so fast because he's suddenly handsome now. It's like, man, are we treating anything seriously? The religious, like, cutting to God stuff and him in heaven and between heaven and earth, that stuff felt really underdeveloped, and I just would have preferred they stuck with something. And there's so many fucking characters in these movies now. Just trim it down, man. My favorite Wes Anderson movie is The Darjeeling Limited, because all 3 of those brothers are in every scene, and it's all about developing them and their relationship with each other, and it feels like such a perfect mix of Wes Anderson's theatrical, very intently staged presentation with a more modern world. Man, I don't know. It's kind of a character thing. Like, I think with The French Dispatch, by far my least favorite, that one has the worst characters, which maybe I could be convinced that they're the best characters, but also you barely get any time to spend with him compared to anyone else. And with this one, I don't think Zsa Zsa Kodar, I think his name is very interesting, and I don't think Benicio del Toro's performance is great. I don't think he carries the movie the same way a guy like Ralph Fiennes did for Budapest, or even Bryan Cranston did for Isle of Dogs. Isle of Dogs was like the last one of those I've really capital L loved, because it feels like the most focused relationship-wise. Even if there are some unsatisfying payoffs, there's definitely too many characters in that movie as well. It still feels like it focuses on the relationship between Chief and Atari. It just feels the most focused out of any of these. The last couple, some more than others, have felt really all over the place. It is crazy to me. I've seen people go, where's the heart in Isle of Dogs? And then like this one, does this one have heart? Then they'll turn around and love this one. Goddamn hypocrites, I tell you. I'm kidding. Like whatever movie you want. I don't know, man. This whole thing feels like a joke now. This whole thing feels like an aesthetic exercise. I wasn't even gonna see this. My mum wanted to see it, and I was like, alright, it was Wes Anderson, I guess. And it turned out fine. Yeah, there's kind of a lack of warmth to it, and there's so many fucking characters. Tone it down, man. Although it does look nice. I'll give it that. It's kind of interesting to see Wes Anderson experimenting in some new settings, but I don't think it's enough. Go a little more. I'm not saying he should completely strip himself of anything that makes his style identifiable. I'm just thinking he should push it just a bit more. Just a tad more. And less characters. Thank you. I've already reviewed this film. Go check that out. I'll just say lead performances are really good. All the performances are really good. It's messy. It doesn't look great for most of it, and the music is a little intrusive for the most of it, but it's also the movie I've come back to the most this year, and Denzel is excellent. Politics-wise, it's a little reductive. I think I've said this before, but he goes, I'm downsizing, not all money is good money. And then his idea of downsizing is still staying in his $17.5 million apartment. I looked up the actual price of it, and that's the same price as the ransom. And then signing Instagram singers with 700 followers. That's his idea of downsizing, which is probably Spike Lee's idea of downsizing now that he's, which is not to say he's a millionaire or anything, or like he's a multi-billionaire or whatever, but like that's probably what these 70-year-old rich men's idea of downsizing is. Anyway, aside from that, there's so many performance ticks that really work for me. I saw someone say that it felt like it was a first run through without any rehearsals, and I kind of agree with that, and that's kind of why I like it. It just does feel messy, and it's nowhere near as good as High and Low, but I think if you went into it thinking it was gonna be, that is kind of on you. Paul Schrader thinks though. Has he got a movie? No, it's last year. He's got a new one coming out. Stop making movies, Paul. Stop raping people. This movie sucked. Glad people liked it. I should maybe call it 4 out of 10. It's not that bad, but it's also not great. This movie is just so dependent on the cool factor. Like, are teenagers gonna like this? I guess maybe I've grown out of it. I don't know. I still read Spider-Man comic books. I'm not like a mature person, but this just, I don't know. It didn't feel cool to me, really. I didn't love the action. I didn't love the animation, even though they did that cell shading. It feels like the way Spider-Verse used animating on 2s and animating in 12 frames a second was very much baked in. More the first one than the second, but it was really baked into the thematic spine of the movie and to the character arcs. But with this, it just kind of felt a little cheap. It's a little insulting, but that's how it felt. Since it is based on the cool factor, I also don't think this movie is very cool. The first one is a Viking thing, and Vikings do nothing for me. I don't think they're cool at all. They're really boring. They have a bunch of boring mythology. And the second one is samurai, which is kind of cool, but it'd be cool if they were ninjas. Samurai's way cooler than ninjas. Ninjas are way cooler than samurai. I don't know why people like samurai more than ninjas. Ninjas are cooler. And then the last one is a Cuban guy fixing an airplane or something. I watched this movie the night after I watched Mission Impossible 8 the second time, and seeing Tom Cruise wing walk on the big screen kind of made a wing walking in an animated movie that I don't love the animation style of, in a movie I don't really like. Let's just say it wasn't great. Let's just say it put in perspective like, oh, I don't love this. And then the final wraparound segment is just too little too late. And I actually watched this before they put in the new ending with Frozen Arnold and Frozen Danny Glover. They keep trying to bring Arnold back, like with every movie. I don't know, whatever. It's fine. I have not seen the new movie. I've heard it's pretty good. I remember liking Prey, and this is the same director, and it's the same director as Predator Badlands as well, but like, it was fine. Sorry. Whatever, I was kind of bored by it. F1. Did I give this a 6? Should have given this a 7. Put a still 7 over it in post. More post work. Yippee. But I really like this. I really like Joseph Kosinski. I saw Oblivion when I was 14, and I thought it was the greatest film ever, and it probably still is. I haven't seen it in a while. And I love Tron Legacy, love Top Gun Maverick. Really like Only the Brave. I've not seen Spiderhead, and I've heard bad things, but I really like F1. I really like the racing. The racing in this movie is way better than the racing in Days of Thunder, which I think it was compared to. But that movie, it gets past purely on cutting and rhythm. There's not a lot of geography in there. I like every scene that isn't a racing scene. I'll put it that way. I like every Nicole Kidman, Tom Cruise scene. They have a lot of chemistry. See, I don't think he does doesn't have chemistry with people. I just think that in Mission Impossible 2, you could tell there was a bit of stress there. Imagine remaking Notorious and recasting Cloud Rains with Dougray Scott. Sorry, I need to stop talking about Mission Impossible 2. Brad Pitt was okay. There's a moment where he's yelling at Dance Ninja. He's like, listen, man, you've got to get your head in the game, man. I was like, I think he's lost the sauce. And he's lost it a little bit. But for a movie in which men in their autumn years with too much muscle get to prove that they're right constantly, it was pretty good. I liked it. And I liked Damson Idris. I've never seen him in anything before, but he was really charismatic. Kerry Condon's great. Javier Bardem has such a fun screen presence. He's such a good hype man. And yeah, the racing was great. I just love the moment. Probably one of my favorite moments of the year is the moment at the end when Brad Pitt is racing to the finish line and it's like he reaches Nirvana and the music goes like really quiet and slow and then it's just the POV, the front of the fucking car. That's an awesome moment. And I love the ending where the Hans Zimmer score is like, and it's like rising up and then he leaves and it cuts out. And that's a really great moment of sound editing. It's a bit too long. It didn't really feel too long aside from the fact that the cinema I was watching it in had bad seats, but I didn't feel the length really. I had a good time with it. I hope Top Gun 3 is, they're doing a Miami Vice one. Who's it gonna be? Austin Butler and Michael B. Jordan apparently. That's gonna be Kaczynski's next movie and hopefully it'll be good. I don't really like the Miami Vice Michael Mann movie, but I've only seen it once. And I've seen the director's cut, which I've heard is worse than the theatrical cut. That's enough about F1. It was pretty good. This is really good. It is probably my favorite movie of the year, maybe. Maybe that's the last one that we're going to talk about today, or the one right after this. But anyway, this one's really good. I love the way they use digital. I love the main kid's performance. Spike, his name is, and Jodie Comer's great. Aaron Taylor Johnson's probably maybe his best performance. He's really good. I love the use of digital. I love the editing. I love how Danny Boyle is like 68 years old and he's still seeing possibilities in digital tools, digital editing, and all this rapid. It's like, God, there's so many cool uses of technology and editing and shots. Even some of it looks kind of janky, but it all feels really fresh and really captivating. I love the story. I love the ending. The third act where it gets very tender and it's not based around a horror climax. And then you get to the end where it's the Jimmy Savile Power Rangers. I like it a lot, but it was great, and I'm excited I'm cautiously optimistic for the next one, because a different director, Nia DaCosta. It's coming out in a month. That's fucking wild. That's crazy. Superman, one of my favorite movies of the year. I've already reviewed it. Go check out my Superman 2 video, which now has A/B testing. Comment below if you got the thumbnail with the Brandon Routh, or the thumbnail with Henry Cavill, if you watched it after I put that up. Anyway, yeah, this is pretty good. I like Gunn's humor. I like that there's a lot of big zany concepts, and even though he does make fun of them, he'll introduce monkeys on keyboards and all these wacky superpowers, and of course he'll have characters going like, this is kind of stupid, but he knows when to pull back when it's important. My favorite example of that is when he's about to turn himself in. Lois says to him, he's just a dog, and then Superman goes, I know, and he's not even a very good one. And that's quite funny. That made me laugh. But right after that, then he says, but he's probably alone and scared and I need to go help him, and that heel turn really worked for me. I really liked it. Good movie. Very good. I had a lot of fun with it. I like that it looked kind of weird. Anyway, good movie. Colin Sweat's great. I know what people were expecting from this film.